January 29th, 2025. It's a Wednesday morning, January 29th, 2025. Subject of this video segment is fuel delivery problems. 1989 Baretta Success 200 powerboat. My late father bought this boat new in 1989, and I inherited it over later when it was in disrepair, and I've renovated it to the point where it doesn't have any wood in it anymore. It has 1-inch H80 Divinycell stringers and sole plate, and engine box is made out of Blue Water 26 Kusa board, and have expanded PVC for the bolsters and expanded PVC for all of the vinyl and seats and what have you. So no wood in the boat anymore, except for just a little bit of teak here and there, or things that I haven't had to replace yet, like the transom. This Baretta boat, I really like it. It was made in Conway, Arkansas. But the number one thing I see posts about power boats and power boating is fuel delivery problems that surface when you apply power. And it'll idle okay and start, but when you apply power, you start getting backfires through the carburetor, which is called lean pop, indicative of fuel starvation. Now, yes, you can have 6 psi at the carburetor, but when you put the throttle to it, that pressure may drop and you don't see it, and the volume may not be ample. And power comes from fuel, so if you don't have volume, and this is not intended to be an instructional video. This is just information for fellow enthusiasts and hobbyists, and information in the form of entertainment. Do-it-yourself work can result in death or injury. I'm not responsible in any way. If you do it yourself work, you do it at your own risk. I'm just sharing information on what the professionals can do, and you can take it to a shop and they'll sort it out for you. But anyway, ample volume, lack of ample volume can be caused by a anti-siphon valve, or a problem with the fuel tank, or the fuel pickup tube that may have pinholes in it after years of use. And it's like trying to suck through a straw that has holes in it. Soda, you may get some soda, but you don't have the volume, depending on the number of holes in the straw. And people will run out and have the fuel pump replaced. And most often what happens is people will winterize their boat in northern climates. Here in southeast Florida, Homestead, USA, I don't need to winterize this 3.7 liter Mercruiser, but I do suck all the fuel out of it and use it on the farm equipment or in the van or my vehicles, because I like to keep the freshest fuel in my power boat, because you don't want to load this thing up with ice and fishing gear and bait and friends, and then hit the throttle and have it go, So, very embarrassing. And idling 10 miles out offshore is not fun. So, that said, let's check the fuel delivery system. And if you can't suck fuel with a turkey baster or a horse oral, you can't suck from the fuel tank on the intake side of the 10 micron water separating fuel filter, you got a problem, either with the fuel tank, the pickup tube, or the anti-siphon valve. And the anti-siphon valve is not all that difficult to replace, and those can become either partially or fully obstructed, and they're a necessary safety feature to prevent explosion or fire. But before you try to pump all the fuel out of your boat and replace it with fresh fuel like I do, fuel only lasts about 6 months before it starts to break down. Most gasolines can be in a fuel tank for 6 months and then it starts to deteriorate. So put your boat away from other boats, other vehicles, other buildings in case you have a fire. Have a fire extinguisher handy and have a garden hose handy and have a fuel transfer pump, rated, ignition proof rated fuel pump for gasoline. And this one is a good one in that it's well designed and well built, as opposed to this one that isn't. This one, if you have any stress at all on the output side, she comes apart and you start shooting gas all over the place. Now what engineer did that, I'm not sure, because they threaded this side on the suction side, but they didn't thread it on the output side. Instead they just knurled it. So since my application is not critical, I'll use a little JB weld and see if I can fix that. But this fuel pump seems to be better. And give me a moment while I walk around the boat and get inside and show you how I connect it to the water separating fuel filter 10 micron, which any watercraft, good idea to, if you don't have one, install one or have it done professionally. Now the way I'm going to power this is I could run leads to the batteries, if you know, maybe 4-foot leads rated for the current needed. And this pump, I should have insulated terminals on here so I don't get a spark, and I should have this fused, but need the fuel right away for my lawnmower that I hope to fix. Anyway, this is a 10 micron filter, and you can't see it on the video, but it's marked in and out. This is the in. And at this point, if you remove this, you should be able to freely suck fuel with a turkey baster or a oral horse medication. Anyway, this is the output side, and I always, when I'm pulling fuel out of the boat, I pull that hose loose and I connect this one carefully. If it'll let me do it. Get away from me, Satan. Satan's always fighting with me, trying to make my job harder. Get away from me, Satan. Alright, so we connect here to the output. So this is sucking fuel from the gas tank through the anti-siphon valve with a short hose going to the filter, and this is the output of the filter. And once I have this established, I can apply power, and making sure that my power is away from any fumes or any spark might occur is away from where I'm sucking fuel from. And I got to make sure that this hose is in the containers, and it's not. So give me a moment, please, audience. Give me a thumbs up if anything is interesting in this video. I really appreciate comments and thumbs up. And you can subscribe or drop out anytime you like. And I have playlists for the multiple subjects, including travel and local events and what have you. Now, I was doing this last night before I set up this video, and there's the horse medication thing. And I use this also for testing cylinders. When I have a problem with an engine, internal combustion engine, I shoot some Marvel Mystery Oil into each cylinder, 15 or 30 cc's. But anyway, to hook this up to the fuel tank, and I have several of them here, I put it like that, and then we connect the battery. And I'm using a garden tractor battery, I always keep one of these around on the farm because they're handy. And we connect it to power, and immediately the fuel pump starts doing its thing, and it starts pumping fuel. And if you have a problem with volume, it'll probably show up right here. You'll have all kinds of air bubbles instead of fuel. But you see, you're getting good volume there every time the solenoid fuel pump pumps. So anyway, we'll let this do its job until my fuel tank in the boat is completely empty, and then I'll haul this to the gas station and fill it up with fresh gas. I use non-ethanol gas. This engine will tolerate just about any octane fuel. It's 3.7 liter Mercruiser MCM 470, and I had it rebuilt by a machine shop here in Miami a few years ago, and I had to have them do it twice because it had rod knock after the rebuild. But anyway, second time was the charm. Of course, I had to do all the installation and, you know, all that work to take it in and out, take it to the machine shop. So I only use non-ethanol fuel because ethanol absorbs moisture, and I try to keep the gas tank full on the boat. Number one, if we have a hurricane, I can use the fuel for the generator, and number two, there's less condensation. The experts tell me, that nameless, faceless experts tell me, that ethanol absorbs moisture, so don't use ethanol gas in a marine application, and don't let your fuel tank sit at a quarter tank or half a tank. Have it filled to the brim, because with the heating and cooling of the sun every day, unless you have it stored inside, you'll get condensation in the fuel tank. So that said, I've got some other work to do around the tropical fruit grove. I pick, God grows them, I pick them, avocados and lychees and black sapote and mangoes and carambola, which people call starfruit, and I sell those to Bricks Tropicals online, or to miamifruit.org. miamifruit.org. Very nice people that, Bricks is a huge corporation, and we have diminishing farmland here in South Florida due to Miami urban sprawl, and there's been a lot of pressure to move the urban development boundary line to consume more farmland, and the mayor we have right now is resisting that, and should, because she says she's an environmentalist, but once the farmland's gone, urban development will be right up to the boundaries of Everglades National Park and other protected areas. And the agriculture, we always get beat up for what we do to grow the best agricultural products in the world. And there's some fish farms around here too, in Redland farm area, and it's northwest of Homestead, Florida. So protect the Redland, write a letter, attend a meeting, and talk about urban sprawl consuming Florida agriculture and Florida sustainable agriculture. And people say, well, you could sell your land and have money, and that's cool. Money's good, but farmland, once it's gone, it's gone. It's a bank you can only withdraw out of. Anyway, enough about the agricultural rant, and we'll keep an eye on how much gas is going to eat till it's sucked dry. Then once the boat's dry of fuel, I can take it somewhere and get it filled back up, and use this fuel for cutting the grass and running the pressure washer and running an engine generator if we have a hurricane. So people, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up, please, if there's anything of good information, These videos are not how-to. I don't assume any risk. You do anything and you burn up your boat or you blow up yourself, do it at your own risk, or have a professional. Professionals actually carry a fuel tank with them, similar to this rig that you see me fabricating, that I don't recommend anybody else do this. You know, you could have one fabricated for you by a marine professional, and they carry one with, and they hook it right up to the engine quick. They bypass the whole fuel delivery and say, you got a problem with the engine or you got a problem with the boat. Normally, a lot of these problems are not the engine, it's the boat. Although it could be contamination in the fuel and you have to rebuild the carburetor, or if it's got fuel injection, that's a whole different thing to worry about. So I respect the pros. I've learned a lot from them. They work hard for their money. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up, please. You can subscribe or unsubscribe. Dennis Seatsma, Dennis John Seatsma Productions, Homestead, Florida. I appreciate comments and thumbs up. Thanks for watching.